Previously on the 8 Question Show.
You know, I have seen women who are very slight, who can hold up a man with one hand.
Can't afford, that's why I'm front line, hand the sword. I do this all for myself, not the cash or no damn award. I need intelligence to craft my bars. I need the medicine that grows effervescent from the hands of God. I need inheritance to slash the odds, create a pipeline to the well while you grasp for straws. 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions.
Welcome back to the 8 Question Show. We have our special guest, our great friend, Monsignor Esseff with us here today. And we're going to ask you this question that we're dying to ask you since you're so versed in this particular area, Monsignor. What occurs during an exorcism, and how do you know when it's complete?
How do you know what?
When it's complete.
It's complete. You actually, right from the beginning, plan an exit celebration. You know, when is this going to be over? You don't just wait a long time for the demon to be in control. And so it really does depend on when it doesn't depend on when he's ready to exit as when you feel that God wants him out of there. God is really in control here of the exorcism. Mm-hmm. I have a book of exorcisms that I'd like you to look at.
Would you like me to grab it?
Yeah. And could you?
I'll
sure.
let Brian handle this part.
Any others? You want the holy water? Anything else?
No. The book that this is the text that we use when I plan an exorcism. Many times I do not use this text in driving out demons. This is the official church, and I will pray using this as this was completed by the Roman Catholic Church, and this particular translation, so that I have had to use Latin up until this was officially recognized. And it may seem it's easy to recognize an English text that is authenticated throughout various parts of the world because they speak English in different places. So that that's why the official language of the church is Latin. And so we will have, and I think, do I command the demon to exit? It depends on the exorcist. I love to pray. There is the office of exorcist. That is, I am the official exorcist in the Diocese of Scranton. Hopefully, when you go to a diocese, if you have an authenticated case of what makes your case authentic, he has been through a psychiatrist, so it isn't a mental disorder. So it is a bona fide, actual case of demonic possession, so that you're not wasting the priest's time. And I really believe that's very important, so that you're really dealing with a possessed person.
So then you go there, they are a bona fide possessed person. And then what are some of the steps that you take during the process of exorcism? Is there like a beginning, middle, and end, or is it kind of like a free-form jazz? You just kind of go as it comes and play it by ear?
No. I think one of the most important things is that the exorcist form a team. And the first group that you should form is a group of prayers.
Prayers.
Are you drawn to pray that the demons be cast out? Every person, that if there is going to be an exit to this possession, then you have people pray for that. Have you ever had a possession and then seen one?
No, never.
Not, at least not to my knowledge.
On TV, in the movies, but not in real life, no.
They're not someone that you can fight physically. The demons. As much as you want to, you cannot engage this particular individual, this demon, and drive him out of your son. And we have that, I think, with the case of the Gerasene demoniac. Do you remember that case where this father comes to the three apostles? They're up on the mountain and they're just coming down, and they see the 9 apostles with a father, and he brought his son, and they're coming down from the mountain, and Jesus, they come rushing over to him and said, "We wanted your apostles to drive out this demon, but they couldn't." And so Jesus comes and he sees the man, and the father says, "I just told you, here is my son. He throws himself down into the fire, into this, and I can't in any way save him. You want to save your child from this. You want to protect him from this." And I have met many parents who are in the same position. I can't. And Jesus then brings him over and casts the demon out of him, drives him out. They all gather around him, and they said, "Why couldn't we do it?" And he said, "Because this kind is only driven out by prayer."
This kind is only driven out by prayer?
This kind is only driven out by prayer.
So that's what the group of prayers come in before you even start, because
Yes.
they probably did every other step as opposed to that important step of prayer. But Jesus knew this was the key to drive this particular demon out.
I really haven't met When you had asked me to do this, I don't know what hopes you have for this particular program, but you are three very healthy young men who, Kris and you, Brian, and you have this beautiful man who is filming.
Marky D.
Doing the filming. Dave, I think it's so important for you to realize that this is so important work. If you want to expose this and not have them retaliate on you and discourage you from bringing these truths to light, then you will pray. And without prayer, I believe that this is the most important ingredient for you.
Absolutely. I have a question for you, Monsignor, in terms of becoming somebody who is authorized to do exorcisms. I'm pretty sure you have to go through some type of rigorous course. And I have a two-part question. One, the first is, what is the course of becoming an exorcist? And two, what's the ultimate test that you have to pass in order for someone to say, okay, you are now ordained? If you ever come across someone who is possessed and needs an exorcism, you are now the one.
Dave was saying that he has been in this for years and years. And I believe all of you have been in great training. And it brings you together. And you didn't just find each other happenstance. I believe that God has helped you find each other, and you're doing a great thing.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you. And anything I can do to help.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Prayer. Pray.
Prayer.
Okay.
So,
prayer is the most important ingredient.
the way that you exorcise a demon is through prayer. It's biblical.
That's the advice of Jesus. And he is the great one who drove out. And if you want to add anything at all to that, some people say prayer and fasting.
And fasting?
Yes,
Who should be fasting? The possessed or the exorcist?
both.
Interesting.
Prayer and fasting.
Why fasting? Just to cleanse as a
Cleanse.
cleansing? That's very interesting.
Or has someone who has that gift. There is a charism. Maybe one of your mothers. Maybe one of your relatives. Just look around and enlist the support of friends of yours. Prayer and fasting are essential. The first thing I do in coming out against Satan is I look for great prayers. And there are those who are now praying while we're engaged here. They're praying for
Really?
us. Yeah. Thousands.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you, Monsignor.
And throughout the whole world.
I want to ask this question again. I got very curious about, how do you become an exorcist?
How do you actually
Like become one?
become and learn the right?
You're appointed by the bishop.
A
You're
bishop?
appointed by the bishop.
You're appointed by the bishop.
I
Got
see.
it. Is there like a rigorous process you have to go through?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I ran a school for exorcism, and I went to the Bishop of Arizona in 2012. I was amazed to hear that I was one of 13 recognized exorcists in the country.
Wow.
And this is the whole United States. And I said to Bishop Olmsted, who was the bishop of Phoenix, Arizona, I said, why did you call me out here, out into the desert, to do an exorcism for you? He said, there wasn't anybody closer.
No.
I was only one of 13.
Oh, wow.
And so I went out to Arizona with Margaret Schlintz. She and I were teaching together. She had the charism of prayer. And it was really beautiful that the both of us were there and did the exorcisms that he had in mind. And so I said, Bishop, could you give us the names of bishops who might be open to this? And so he gave us the names of 13 or 14 bishops whom we called. And I don't know if you realize, especially on the part of the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church in that time hadn't said anything for 50 years on the devil. Not one official statement.
Wow.
Came from the Catholic Church.
Wow.
Paul VI tried to get a group of theologians together to say something about demons. That's why I'm interested in your next question about God. You know, what did God do in the meantime? The Catholic Church falls asleep. So he awakens the Protestants, and they awaken to the charismatic movement.
So,
The charism of driving out demons hadn't left the Protestants. And they are the ones who wrote during those 50 years, and most statements were from them.
very interesting.
Wow. So to wrap up this question, what occurs during an exorcism? One of the first things that you must do, well, not, you know, if you're an exorcist, is have a group of prayers and then, you know, follow the series of steps that you need to do to cast out the demons. What our next question, Brian and I is excited about is we're going to talk about God and what is God. So we'll see you all next time. On the next episode of the 8 Question Show.
God is the author of all life. God is the Father of the angelic world. God is the Father of all mankind.